Hey class, good morning to all of you. I hope you're doing fine. Today, we're heading to a new topic. But before that, I know you learned now how to plan irrigation, plan your crop production, basic calculation in farming, and especially the history of agriculture. But today, we're heading to a new topic. Are you excited, guys? But before that, um, let's talk about being a students and teachers. For now, we will be both farmers. Is that okay to you guys? Okay, so I will be calling you a farmer, and you will call me a farmer. Is that okay, class? Okay, so um, farmers do a lot of activities. But before that, they do warm-ups and exercises to lighten their mood before going to work. And now, we will do what they are doing. So, let's start. Do you know the dance of Magtanim ay Di Biro? If you're familiar with that, you can dance with me. But first, I will teach you how to perform it. Are you excited, everyone? Farmers? Okay, so this is how it goes. One, two, three, go. We're gonna move our hips like this. Three, tanim ay di biro, maghapong nakayuko, di naman nakaupo, di rin man makatayo. Ang puso ko'y namamanhid, bewang ko'y hindi ko'y umaga pagising, lahat ay iisipin kung saan may pananim, doon ang sarap na pagkain. So ko'y namamanhid, bewang ko'y tubig ko'y nanigid. Halina, halina, tayo mag-ilan. Pag-unat-unat. Okay, your turn now. So, let's do it again. Okay, are you ready? So, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Down. Braço, longe, belo coin, sa umaga pagising, lahat ay iisipin kung saan man pananim, doon masarap na pagkain. Suko'y namamanhid, bewang ko'y, hindi ko'y halina, halina, tagitna, halayo at sipag unat-unat, halina, Okay, very good, class. So now, after that warm-up, we're now heading to our new topic. So, our new topic is all about safety measures in farm. Safety measures in farm. But before that, let's have our objective first. So here are our objectives. Okay, let's read everyone. Objectives of our lesson. At the end of the lesson, the students should be able to identify different hazards in farm operations, recognize the importance of understanding the appropriate safety measures in farm operations. And last is identify potential hazard emergencies in different farm work scenarios and apply appropriate safety measures through role play. And I need your cooperations to achieve these objectives. So are you excited, everyone? So let's start the discussion. So now we are moving to our discussion. So our discussion is all about safety measures in farm operations. I know a lot of you farmers have been in a farm. They do different activities such as planting, cleaning operations, harvesting, riding on tractors, or even spraying chemicals. So with that activities, I know we are engaged in different accidents or injuries. So these topics will help us have knowledge and understanding about safety measures, safety procedures, and different hazards in farm operations. So let's now begin. First, what is safety measures? Okay, if you are confused, safety measures is an actions that taken to reduce such injuries, accidents, or ill health, even death. So it is important to understand safety measures, especially in farm operations. So farmers, now safety measures in farm operations. In farm operations, safety measures refer to actions and precautions taken to prevent accident, injuries, illness, and even death that can occur while working on the farm. Okay. So do you identify these three icons here? So this icon 3 here is the hazard, risk, and exposure. So, sir, what is hazard? We are confused in meaning of hazard, danger, and precautions. So hazard, according to its meaning, hazard is the potential for harm or adverse effect on an employee's health. Anything which may cause injury or ill health to anyone at or near workplace is a hazard. So meaning, anything that can potentially harm you is hazard. So once you step in the farm or in the field, you are now exposed to hazards. So always be careful. So next is risk. Risk is the likelihood that a hazard will cause injury or ill health to anyone at or near our workplace. The level of risk increases with the severity of the hazard and the duration and frequency of exposure. So meaning, the more you stand, the more you do the activities in farm, you are having a chance of you are having a high level of risk in dangers or hazard. So what should we do? Sir, should we stop doing that work? No. This is where the PPE or the personal protective equipment comes in. So personal protective equipments are the the thing or the clothes that can help us reduces such injuries. So later on we will discuss about protective equipment. But for now, we will focus on the different farm procedures or emergency procedures, type of hazards, and safety reminders. So let's move on. Exposure. Exposure occurs when a person comes in contact with a hazard. So exposures meaning once you step in a farm, you are now exposed to hazards. You hold the tools, you hold the spraying chemicals, you hold the plants. You are now exposed to hazards. So that is exposure. Do you identify this icon? So these 4 icons is a types of hazard. So first, we have the physical. Second, mechanical or electrical. Third is chemical. And fourth is biological. So let's identify those different types of hazards. First is physical hazards. from the word itself, physical. So physical hazard is anything that can harm us physically. For example, include floors, stairs, work platforms, steps, ladders, far-falling objects, slippery surface, manual handling, excessively loud and prolonged noise, vibration, heat and cold, radiation, poor lighting, ventilation, and air quality. Anything that can harm us physically is a physical hazard. For example, we are cleaning in our farm or in our storage room, and the floor is so slippery, and we accidentally slide to it, and that's a sample of physical hazard. So it is important to always be careful, wear proper protective equipment to help us reduce such accidents. Do you understand now, class? Okay, so let's move on. The next one is mechanical or electrical hazards. As you can see that in the pictures, um, the man's hands was stuck in the mechanical machine, and the other one is a man who was electrified. So meaning, mechanical electrical hazard includes electricity, machinery, equipment, pressure vessels, dangerous goods, forklifts, cranes, and hoists. So that is mechanical or electrical hazards. And the next one is chemical hazard. From the word it's chemical, so it's something to do with the chemical substances. Includes chemical substances such as acids or poisons, and those that could lead to fire or explosion, like pesticides, herbicides, cleaning agents, dust, and fumes from various processes such as welding. So meaning, for example, you are spraying chemicals or pesticide in your farm. So how do you spray pesticides? Like this, right? And suddenly a strong wind came from towards you, and the whole chemicals come into your body or your face. So what will happen to you? And now that's where comes the you are now exposed to the chemical hazards, which is very dangerous to our health. So always wear PPE, and the proper PPE for such chemical is mask, face mask, and goggles. So the last one for the type of hazards is biological hazards. So biological hazards include bacteria, viruses, mold, mildew, insects, vermin, animals. So we all know that in farm we encounter different insects, animals, and those animals can harm us biologically. Some of them are snakes, can harm us through its venom, and some is insects like spiders that can be poisonous to our body. So those are the types of hazards. So again, the four types of hazard is physical, chemical, mechanical or electrical, and biological. Do you understand? Okay, let's move on now. Farm emergency procedures regarding safety working environment. And now we're going through the farm emergency procedures. These farm emergency procedures can help us reduce injuries or illness in farm operations. The first thing to do is, what can you say about the picture? So, as you can see, there are different scenarios. There's a fire, there's a typhoon, there's a flood. So meaning, the first step in farm emergency procedure is, what do you think? Identify potential emergency. So it is important to identify potential emergencies, because if we are aware to the possible emergency, we can prevent it or reduce the high risk of injuries or accidents. What are the possible emergencies? For example, fire, flood, typhoon, machinery entrapment, electrical shock, snake or spider bite, chemical exposures, injuries, illness, or accidents. So what do you think is the second? After identifying the potential emergencies, what do you think? What are you observe in these pictures? What do you think? So the second one is, after identifying, we should provide emergency facilities. So is it obvious that after identifying, we should prepare the appropriate emergency facilities for the potential emergencies? So provide emergency facilities appropriate for the sorts of emergencies that might occur on the farm. Example, the land showers for fire, eye washes for eye irritations or eye damage, firefighting equipment such as fire extinguisher, and the most of all is first aid kits for our injuries. And the third one is check emergency facilities. Okay, we all know that sometimes emergency facilities are not in use because of rare accidents, which that is good in farm if you have rare accidents or emergencies. So because of it's not been used for a long time, the tools and the equipment have been stuck and rusty. So it's now it's now bad for the facilities because, for example, there's a fire in your workplace, and suddenly you get the fire extinguisher, but you can unpin it because it's too stuck and rusty. So what will happen? So the fire can harm us before we kill the fire. So it's important to always check our emergency facilities. Do you understand, class? And the fourth one is understanding of emergency procedures and responsibilities. Okay, to help minimize the risk of personal injury or property damage in the event of an emergency, people working on the and visiting the farm need to know and understand the emergency procedure and their responsibility. So, sir, how can the farmers or the visitors understand such emergency procedures? And that's when the orientations comes. Okay, we should orient our farmers or visitor before working in the workplace, because it is important to the farmers and the visitors to have knowledge about the emergency procedures. First is to know where are the emergency facilities, how to use emergency equipment, how to avoid accidents. Okay. So, sir, what are the other way to help them understand such procedures? And there is the signage or alerts, posters, and labels comes. So, in farm workplace, we should provide such as posters about how to prevent the such accidents or emergency responses, or maps for emergency facilities, and signage for alerts like do not touch because of hot surfaces, o kaya don't come near in the machinery. And that's how you let people understand the emergency procedures. Is it clear? Okay. And the fifth one is instruct everyone. This is the crucial thing. You should always instruct everyone working in the farm in the emergency response procedures. So what kind of emergency response? Those are the drills, practices, simulations when emergency happens. And then, location of emergency facilities. Everyone should know the location of fire alarms, fire extinguishers, and first aid kits. How and where to contact emergency services, and where to safely assemble in the farm event of an emergency. So it is important to know the location of every emergency facilities. Why? Because it helps us to quickly respond to the emergencies. So it's very important to know the location. So how gonna help the farmers or the visitors locate it? By using posters such as floor plans or maps. Okay? Now, do you understand those farm procedures in in for potential emergencies. So we should always keep that in mind that we always we need to do such as procedures like those drills, practices, because all of them can help us reduce accidents, deaths, injuries, and emergencies. So, are we okay now? Let's proceed to the farm works that involves using chemicals and hazardous tools equipments. So now we are moving to the different activities which are have involvement of using chemicals and hazardous tools, because and this one is very important to have to us to be aware or to know what kind of activities is very dangerous to do, hazardous things, and there is a safety reminders on how to perform it well safely. Okay, the first one is the very common spraying chemicals. Many different chemicals are used on a farm, including pesticides. These chemicals are used to fertilize and control pests such as insects, weeds, mollusks, etc. Most of these chemicals are applied by spraying. So, as like demonstrated earlier, you are spraying chemicals. And this is the examples of chemical hazards while doing spraying chemicals. Spraying chemicals in a strong wind, and the spray drifting over a dam or a farmhouse. Washing spray equipment and the water running into open drains, collecting in puddles, or running into stockyards or dumps. And the third one is containers are or chemicals left lying around, empty containers lying in a heap. So in the third one, it's important to place or have facilities or have containers for the leftovers of chemicals to avoid such chemical substance that can ill a health of a farmer. The next one is these are the ways you can reduce the risk of hazard from chemicals. First, use personal protective equipment such as respirators, waterproof clothes, rubber gloves, and water footwear. Make sure chemicals are safely stored and cupboards are locked. Never spray chemicals on days when there is a high wind. No first aid procedures. Keep a list of all hazardous substances used on the farm operations. So we should take the notes of this. This is the ways we can reduce such risk in using chemicals. Then this is the safe use of chemicals. So there's a safe use with chemicals. So don't worry. Consider if a chemical substance is really needed. Eliminate a hazardous substance or that is not possible, substitute with less hazardous one. The second one is safe work practices or personal protective equipment. It's very important to have always protective equipment. And then the last one is keep records of farm chemicals. So the next activity is the land preparation using tractor. So in large farms, tractors is very common thing. Um, and there are a lot of accidents happen in uh, preparation or land preparation using tractor, because nowadays it's to the technology has advanced, and with the technology the possible accidents is getting higher also. So victims fall off are thrown from the tractor, run over by either the tractor and implement being towed or both, or overturned. So these are the safety reminders for land preparation using tractors. First is use seat belts when driving tractors. We should use always the seat belts to avoid thrown in the tractor. And the second one is ROPs. So what do you mean by ROPs? ROPs is rollover protective structures. It's kind of protective structures present in the tractors when help us reduce injuries when hitting or run over by other tractors. The third one is sudden stops. In driving or using tractors, we don't need to consider it like a normal car. We always drive it slowly and carefully because the land in the farm is not flat or like the road in the highway. So we should always be careful in driving. Driving over holes, stumps, and debris or a sharp turn. We should avoid those holes and deep holes and stumps to avoid the truck overturn. So this is how to prevent runovers. The first thing to do is never allow riders on tractors. Discuss with family members and farm workers the potential risk of riding at tractors. It's also helpful to post no riders decals on all tractors to remind others about the policy. And last is use or provide other vehicles that allow passengers such as trucks or cars when transportation is needed in fields or remote work sites. So it is very common in a farm or in large farm that a lot of farmers uses tractors as transportation, which is bad because the higher risk of accidents is there. So it's better to use other form of transportation vehicles rather than using tractors. So now, let's proceed to the last one. This is the clearing operations. In clearing operations, it includes the cutting tall grasses or weeds or making a wide area of such a farm. And through that clearing operation, we use sharp tools or hazardous tools like bolo or a machine like grass cutter, which is very dangerous if we don't properly use it and we don't have personal protective equipment. So this is how you say how to perform correctly in clearing operations. First and foremost, use PPE such as gloves and safety shoes while doing clearing operations. The second one is always create a 1 meter space to the others. So in clearing operations, we are with our co-farmers. So to avoid injuries, we should spread out or create space while doing the clearing operations. And this one is always point your tools towards the ground when not in use or place it in its casing. Because they are very sharp, we should always keep that in a proper place. So those are the safety measures in farm operations. Now I have a question for you. You can answer it in your own or responsibly back. So safety measures in farm operations. So first, those type of hazards. They are the physical, chemical, biological, mechanical, and electrical. Is it important to identify those top hazards to provide a proper procedures in such accidents? And then we should always remember the farm emergency procedures, where the first is identify potential emergencies, provide emergency facilities. The third one is check always the emergency facilities. Then fourth one is understand emergency procedures and responsibility. The fifth one is instruct everyone. And the last one is locations of farm emergencies. So, sir, what are the importance in understanding appropriate safety measures? So, listen everyone. Understanding the appropriate safety measures in farm operations is important because it helps us prevent accidents, injuries, and even fatalities. Ensuring a safety work environment are ensuring for a safety working environment. So, additionally, it reduces the property damage and financial loss, promoting a sustainable and productivity in farm operations. So, I hope you understand this today's class, and always keep that in mind that there's always a right way in doing such activities. There's a safe way, there's a right way. We just need to follow those steps, procedures, drills, practices in order to become safe in such workplace. So that's all, everyone. Hope you doing fine out there, and always be careful. So that's all, and this is our assignment for you. So now this is your assignment. In a short bond paper, illustrate one type of personal protective equipment with a short description about its uses. Choose one among the personal protective equipment used in farm, because in our next meeting we will discuss the personal protective equipment. Better uh, to do this assignment in order to have knowledge about the personal protective equipment. And I will send you the reference for this reference in order to help you uh, 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 have the sources about the personal protective equipment. So that's all, farmers. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.